When the Abingdon factory closed and the Bee and the Midget ended production in 1980, a lot of people assumed that we'd seen the end of MG. So imagine how everyone felt when, 2 years later, the Octagon reappeared on a front-wheel drive supermini. Is the MG Metro worthy of that hallowed badge? Let's take this example for a drive and find out. 1980 was quite a sad year for MG fans. The Bee and the Midget had been killed off, the Abingdon factory had been closed down, and in light of dwindling sports car sales compared to the raft of new hot hatches on the market, it looked uncertain if or when the brand was ever going to make a return. But British Leyland had bigger fish to fry. Its all-new Metro Supermini, badged the British car to beat the world, was on sale, and before the ink was even dry on the first poster, there were orders coming in for them. A lot of the top brass within BL noted that there was potential for a sporting variant. There was the Metro Plus, which would go on to be the upmarket wooden picket version, and even a certain Mr. John Cooper had put his stamp on a car badged the Metro Cooper. But neither of those cars really realised the sporting potential in the Metro, which was praised by the press for its excellent handling, its willing engines, and its surprisingly compliant ride with its hydrogas suspension. There would be a return of a historic sporting mark within the BL stable. There would be a hot Metro, and it would be badged the MG. By 1982, the aptly named MG Metro made its debut, and it made a great first impression. It got a body kit over the standard Metro with a front air dam and a little spoiler at the back. It got its own unique alloy wheels, which sadly are missing from this car here, but pepper pot items that really did look the part, and it got those also 80s Metro MG graphics, which really stood out from the crowd. That alone will raise a smile. The MG Metro had some sportification inside as well. For a start, it got red carpet like the 205 GTI. It got these nicely bolstered sports seats with the MG logo and a little red pinstripe monogrammed into them. That is a classy touch, I've got to say. And then, of course, there was the king of improvements. And I'm not talking about this lovely 3-spoke leather MG steering wheel. I'm talking about red seat belts. How cool are these things? This is fantastic. These are the originals and they've worn really, really nicely. Even if this car was a total shed to drive, I'd still recommend you go and buy one, just so you get red seat belts. But don't worry, it wasn't all show and no go. The MG Metro got the 1275A Plus version of the A series, and that meant 72 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 10.5 seconds, which is in no way shabby for a little shopping trolley, and a top speed of 103 miles an hour. Doesn't sound much now, but back in the early 80s, for a Metro, that was hugely impressive. And in fact, driving it today, it's not slow. Woo! That does feel really nippy and eager. It gives what it has really willingly. It feels every bit as quick as a lot of the hotted up minis do. It's slightly coarse and grumbly with it, but no more than a CVH, that's for sure. And let's not forget, the A series has its roots in the mid-1950s. This is great. It's nippy, it's fizzy, it's not talky. You do have to ring it out, but do so, and it's good fun. It had the means to cope with this extra performance as well. The MG had lower suspension than the standard Austin Metro, albeit it was still hydrogas, and it had servo-assisted 4-pot front disc brakes. That's remarkably effective braking stuff for what is just a warmed-up Supermini, and as a result, I didn't give it full pedal there, but it really does stop well. There's no weight to pull up either, remember. But if you add all this together, what is the MG Metro like to drive? Well, it's a hoot, of course. A standard Metro is great fun anyway. It's got a lovely little chassis, and what we've got here is one with bigger, better brakes, firmer suspension, and more power. So it was only ever going to be more fun. It's fizzy, it's nippy. The steering feels great, actually. It's light, not the most feelsome in the world, but it is direct and responsive. And you can toss it around in the lane because it's so tiny and compact. And even in MG, guys, the tyres are so small and skinny that it doesn't grip too well, which means you can be a bit of a hooligan and fling it around. Chuck it in here, feel it grip. Oh, yes. It's a slightly bouncy ride in this particular example. I think the hydrogas might need adjusted, but that doesn't matter. It's got a sporty edge to it. Feels great fun. It's a little hooligan car, this, and yet, because it is only 72 horsepower, it's still not enough to get you into trouble. You're still not going to be caught speeding in this thing. but it looks fast and it feels fast and it puts a smile on your face. And ultimately that is more important, isn't it? It's such a nippy, fizzy little puppy dog of a car because it's so tiny, particularly on today's road. You don't mind being a bit and nipping around and hunched over the steering wheel and pretending you are a bit of an 80s rally hero. Unsurprisingly, the journalists and the public loved the MG Metro, and for once, BL had undershot in terms of its estimate. They wanted the MG to represent 10% of all Metro sales, but by the end of the second year in production, the MG Metro was 25% of Metro production, and it would stay that way for much of the car's life. All in all, they sold 142,000 MG Metros. An incredible achievement, not just for the Metro model, but for this, the warmed-up frivolous model, and deservedly so. So all was good then? Well, no. Being a BL product, the MG Metro didn't get away that lightly. For a start, it suffered from much the same issues as the normal Metro, which meant it rusted in just a few short years. The build quality was typical BL disappointingness, sadly. Bits of trim fell off, it's rattly, it's tinny, and it doesn't even feel as high quality as a lot of Fords, let alone some European rivals. Then there's the underpinnings. At heart, this is a lot older of a car than the 1982 launch date. It uses the A series, which, don't forget, is an engine with its roots in the early 1950s. It's got a 4-speed gearbox, and that means while it accelerates well, it is screaming at motorway speed if you have to do a lot of time at high speeds where it is really begging for another gear. But BL persisted with this car because all that success gave them the motivation and indeed gave them the budget to improve it and to work with it. It was facelifted in 1984 and then again in 1989 to look like this car here, and gradually that quality did improve as they slowly chipped away at all its problems. In 1983 came the turbo model with 93 horsepower, an awesome body kit, even cooler graphics, and performance to at least nip at the heels of a 205 GTI or a Golf GTI. A lot of MG purists then and now will say that the Octagon badge shouldn't be put on a front-wheel drive supermini. It's not a real MG. But first of all, who really cares? When you're driving it, all you care about is having fun, and you've got this special sporty feeling interior with red seat belts. You've got this nippy handling, this eager engine, these cool, chunky, hot hatchy looks, and more grin factor than almost any car in its class. Who cares if it's a real MG? It's a real hoot to drive. And let's not pretend that every car MG ever made was a 2-seat rear-wheel drive convertible sports car, shall we? There's cars like the Magnet, the Y-Type, the AD016, and they were all hugely popular and still are loved by MG fans today. The brand has a history of taking worthy, workaday saloons and hatchbacks and making them sportier, more exotic, more interesting. And besides, if you want to talk about not a real MG, let's start with today's offerings, shall we? Chinese-built electric SUVs that aren't even built in Britain. Whereas this car was built and engineered and designed by British people in Britain and with the MG ethos. Take a good existing base, the Austin Metro, and make it sportier and more exciting, and to add some motorsport pedigree, which they did when it went rallying in 6R4, guys. So not only is this every bit worthy of the MG badge, but in the world of classic MGs, I think it could be time for the return of Metromania. But why don't you let us know what you think? Have you ever owned an MG Metro? Do you think it's worthy of the badge, or would you still prefer something rear-wheel drive like a B or a Midget? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for all future Classics World content, and do go and check out our MG playlist where you can see some more Octagon videos, of which there are many so far and many more to come. I'm off for another play.